Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition, to another installment of hashtag Fade to Black. I'm here, your host, Daniela Monte Boris. He's back, Mr. O, and Anita Joe, aka Cheech. How's everybody doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. How are you?
I'm
Fired up.
doing good. I'm doing fantastic right now. I'm so happy to be live. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to share a show out to everybody. So let's go ahead and just jump on in to our opening statements. And Mr. O, since you was out the last show, you will start us off.
Good evening. I had made the right top for today. I will keep the half for when our new guests come on. I will shake him at the feet with our ancestral wisdom if really he wants healings. It is time for us, the black folks, to be responsible for our destiny instead of allowing others to carry our flag of freedom together. Please allow me to briefly read to you my write-up of today. Because we have to know why blacks continue to be victims when others are already freeing themselves. For more than 4,000 years, Africans have been cold and passive and refused to defend their own, being carried away into slavery. For 4,000 years, when the rest of the world was primitive, a strong Africa refused to unite to protect their own. By the year 1080, there was a black slave revolt in Iraq. They overcame their slave masters and almost took power. But all the Arab countries and Iran united their armies to repel the rebellion. And since then to today, these Iraqi blacks are just now free because Europeans conquered Iraq and ordered freedom of all slaves. No leader in Africa had the vision to mobilize an army to support them 1,000 years ago. During all these thousands of years of slavery, Africa refused to protect their own. The spirit of those ancestors, our ancestors, refused to protect those that were sold out, is now hunting Africa, where leaders live in opulence and the masses worship them. Even pastors that are supposed to stand up like great Moses have all become corrupt and many live in opulence. Africa needs atonement for the sins of our ancestors. They need to go and do the rituals. If they do not, well, the conspiration of African leaders of ancient time with slave traders will also hunt Africa, and Africa will not grow, and we continue to suffer together with African diaspora anywhere in the world. Before I end, I want to say that I understand African Americans not wanting to cut off from their African roots. And I'm consubstantiated with them. Blacks all over the Americas, North and South, continue to cry Africa. Well, through this Sam Mortis show, we shall bring Africa to them. The culture of Africa, it will open a road for healing. The other parts of my opening statement will be left until when the young man who was thinking about his roots come up again, and I will tell him how to look for healing right from his roots. That's my opening statement.
Nanga Death. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us once again for another segment of Fade to Black. Professor O gave some very good and inspiring words. And as I was sitting thinking, I was thinking about the time that we are currently living in, a time that I've never seen before. And I don't even believe my mother or my father have seen times such as these. To live in a total lockdown where your daily routines are drastically changed because of sickness and disease. So, the word that comes to me that will guide my opening statement is adjustment. How are we adjusting to these times? I seen a news report this morning that talked about how so many businesses will not reopen because of the coronavirus and the lockdown that we experienced. But one of the good things that they talked about, and we even shared on our show, is how new businesses took root during the time. And we have one business, the Cheddar Boy Popcorn, which I'm proud that we were able to share his story, a story of victory. When things looked dismal, things became bright for him. He and his wife were able to start a business and do very well. So, adjustment in these times, how are you adjusting? Some people are getting depressed because their movement is limited, restricted social interaction. Parents are trying to figure out how to school their children that have special needs, where they can't go back and be in the school system because of the virus that is so dangerous in our society right now. Some have not returned back to work. Either their company closed down or it's too dangerous to be there. So these people have to adjust to a new life. And we all hope that things can go back to what we knew as normal. But as I perceive it, this lockdown is preparing us for a new normal of social isolation and finding new ways, new inventive ways to earn a living when the old way is not available. So I want you to take a positive outlook that no matter what is going on, there is always hope. There's always faith. And it may just be the very opportunity that you need to get your motor going to send you in a new direction. So, change is not always a bad thing. I think it is the way you look at it. How are you taking this adjustment to your life? How will you make it the maximum for your life? How are you being prepared? And I think the key to adjustment is being resilient, being able to handle the storm when the storm comes and still stand after the storm has receded. So, ladies and gentlemen, think about the adjustment that is happening all over the world, not just in your hometown. But all over the world, people are adjusting to these new rules. Another thing that I would like to bring out is that because of the coronavirus and because there's such a backlash against getting the vaccine, they are now saying and probably pushing for legislation such that if you don't get the vaccine, you won't be able to, one, get a driver's license, you won't be able to find employment. It looks like they're pushing to make this a condition that we at some point or another would have to succumb to. And for me, I think that would be a huge adjustment. And I'm not one to throw phrases out, but I think on this tip, I would be quick to say, over my dead body. I don't believe in the vaccine. I don't think it has time to give those trials and see how we would react to it. So I would not be one that would be pro vaccination regarding the coronavirus, not at this time. But it seems they want to force it on us. If think about it, they want to restrict your liberties, such as getting employment if you don't take the vaccine. That seems very sinister to me, especially when doctors have explored medicines that's currently on the market that have proven to cure a person of the disease if in fact they have it. So there's no need for vaccine. But the sinister plan to force you or restrict your ability and all of your liberties is just not right. But anyway, I got off on a tangent, but adjustment. How are we adjusting in these dire times? And that's my opening statement.
Well, and I thought I was drinking energy drink. Just quickly, Chuck. Don't hurt me, teach. All right. My opening statement, I've been wanting to talk about this the whole day, so let's get into it. Keeping it real. Now, before I go on and talk about this, y'all know on this show I keep it real with you all the time. I keep it 100. But then there are times where keeping it real goes wrong. Now, y'all probably thinking about the Dave Chappelle episode of, when keeping it real goes wrong. That's actually true in real life. Because there are times where you should just, sometimes keeping it real has consequences. Sometimes you just need to calm down, keep things to yourself. So I'm gonna give you I'm gonna use one quick example for keeping it real. All right, so you walking with your girl, and the guy happens to bump into her. Like let's say not too much of like a bump where she's like falling over, but like let's say like a little bump. And us as men, we're gonna be like, yo, dude, like, what's up? But let's say you turn around and do, but like, oh, my bad, I'm sorry. But you off the handle like, yo, you just hit it to my girl. You just hit it to my girl and do it like, yo, man, my fault. I was just apologizing. That's when keeping it real goes wrong. Just like in that Dave Chappelle episode where dude was trying to holler at his girl and he didn't realize that the dude knew karate. And he got his ass whipped in the club. Understanding your situation makes all the difference. Because let's say if that did happen, he didn't apologize, and you're in an environment that does not support you whatsoever. What I mean is you in that dude's territory, and you and your girl are the only one. sometimes it's good to just let it go. Be like, baby, just get up, talk to him for a little bit. Like, yo, man, that was disrespectful. If he get all rudy, you see lots of guys coming behind him and all that stuff. You got your point across. That's time to go. But now let's look at the other side of the coin of keeping it real. Let's talk about when those ones that don't want to snitch. And I'm not talking about the Tekashi 6ix9ine. I'm talking about the ones that actually see the crime happen and don't say nothing because they keeping it real. I don't trust the police and all that stuff. Yes, there's a lot of police brutality going on right now, ladies and gentlemen. I know. But just like when I said that, yeah, media sends out a lot of news that is just false, but you got people that actually try to make it right. And the same I give to the police. So for you that's keeping it real in the hood, when you see something happen and don't want to tell police what actually happened, you cause a real big disconnect. By telling the police, this is what I saw. I'm not saying come out like openly. Make sure the cop hides your name and all that stuff, but still give them the information. Because you could have just saved 10 lives. Could have just helped that divide. Maybe not a whole lot, but just a little bit. For the people to trust the police and the police to trust the community. So what I'm actually saying is, when you keep it real all the time, remember, by you doing that, you accept the consequences, or what usually people would say, karma, that comes with it. Sometimes you just need to be you. Well, I am me when I keep it real. No. Not the same thing. You could just be you. But if you want to keep it, there's times where you should keep it real. And then there's sometimes you just should just be you and just keep to yourself. And that's all I'm saying. And he's finally here, y'all. Mr. B. Johnson.
Yes, and with that segue, that's going to lead into my opening statement, perseverance. I was having some technical issues over here, trying to sync up everything and get everything right on my end. And I kept having to go back and forth, sign in and out. But I persevered. I stayed the course. I got myself up here because I knew I had a job to do. There was something expected of me to accomplish, and I'm here to accomplish it. So I need to persevere. So you need to take that mentality and apply it to your life overall. No matter the obstacles or situations that may come, just persevere, move forward. Shrug it off, eat it, take it on the chin, and keep moving forward. The goal ahead of you will be attained and it will be achieved. You just got to keep moving forward and persevere. And with that, I'm going to keep it short and sweet and leave that as my opening statement.
Dang, I mean, everybody was, I think that's the longest opening statement segment that we had in a while. That includes me. And Beast Johnson was straight to the point. So y'all already know what it is on Friday. It's free for all. So let me go ahead and put this on here. Since our sponsors actually watching, let's go ahead and jump right on in. Also, before we get into the whatever issue, whatever topic we want to talk about, I actually sent the link to Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, if you want to come in to the show at any time, just let me know. I sent you the link. You can just go ahead and peek in anytime you want to. So let's go on ahead to the topic. And I really want to get into what Teach is saying, because that's been the talk of the town over here on my end about the vaccine and all that stuff. I was like, already? But not only was I thinking that, me being in the military, we're going to be the test dummies anyway. So I'll let y'all know how that vaccine is, but knock on wood, if I'm
Till you
still
grow
here
3
now.
heads and 7 arms.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say
Fear,
it ain't. They look. They
fear.
say the vaccine worse than the corona itself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the vaccine should take a longer period than this short period of
Than
time.
this,
I'm definitely nervous.
more
Very nervous.
severe
I
diseases
want you.
and ailments have taken longer to develop a vaccine than this.
I warned you that this is a dark plot behind,
Oh,
but
it
I'm
is.
happy. I'm happy that Professor Anita has now come home because it's one of the things we debated on Facebook. The evil look. I this morning I wrote on Facebook. There is a spiritual war on the skies of the United States of America. A very powerful one. There's a war,
Yeah.
and we hope the good one wins. These
No,
are evidence.
Professor O, I have always been against the vaccine, and I have
Yes, you have.
always felt that it was a sinister plan. But I
Yes.
want to call your attention to, if you have Netflix, there's a mini series called The Rain, and
I peeked in on that a little
I'm
bit today.
addicted to watching it, but it's like, the rain is the virus, and if the rain gets on you, you instantly die. And there's some people that survive because they were inside. But anyway, I'm into the 3rd season. But as I'm watching this, I don't know, I'll check tonight what year this miniseries was made, but it feels as if they're just talking about the coronavirus.
Yes, it's on
And
you on YouTube too. On YouTube, there are many like that too. There are
yeah,
many.
yeah, there's many, but this one is just really,
Eerily
even the
similar.
sinister planners are talking about how they injected into the world, and actually they put it in one particular city and built a big wall, and the people on the other side of the wall are going about their lives normally, but the people on the other side of the wall, which covers um, a vast amount of space, it makes people think that the whole world is under this quarantine, but it's only them. But anyway, they talk about the sinister plan, and it's just sinister. Just it's hard to watch because it's just so sinister, and it's just this day and age where I feel they're trying to force us. They're just forcing us to take. They're
They are.
forcing us, taking control over
Yes,
everything.
yes, that's it. Bill
Well,
Gates announced it that it will be made compulsory. You may not even be able to get a visa or to travel. And also, this same Bill Gates announced some years ago that there was going to be something that we hit out in 2019. And a British, one economist who was Nobel laureate said that in 2013, they injected, I think, fentanyl, something in the black population in the US that will produce death in 2020. So this is a plan of a long time, and we have been sleeping. There is resistance in Argentina. They want to test the drug also on soldiers first. The Western world is destroying its civilization because Chinese will not force their citizen. The Russian will not do it. The Arabs will not do it. Why must it be we in the Western world insisting on destroying our civilization of freedom? That is the problem.
this
Well,
this is what amazes me about the whole thing. To be like when we look at it from number one, all this came from the mouth of Bill Gates. Bill Gates is an individual who spent his entire career with the sole purpose to develop software and programming that could
Yes,
unilaterally connect the entire world across
yes,
every electronic platform. That was
Yes.
his goal. He achieved that with 95, then bumped it up to 98, and he's been coasting off them two ever since. He just upgrades them and tinkers them from there. Point being, he's already connected the world. The man has enough wires through his own home to wrap around the whole world a dozen times. Now, the same man who has already connected the world now starts saying that we need to get rid of 10 to 12%. First off, who the hell comes off with a statistical number when you say things like that? We need to get rid of 10 to 12%. That means you've already done the math prior
Yes.
to that conversation. And
Yes.
now you are the same individual who already has technological advancements over everyone. You basically run the whole world because
Yes.
Windows runs everything. So
Everything.
if you decide to say, do what I say, or I hit this button and shut the whole world down, he's the only person in the world that has that true power. Now, this same man is telling us we need to get vaccinated and we also need to chip ourselves. And he's also trying to plead with the black community to be test dummies. And no, we don't want to do Tuskegee. We want you to willingly be lab rats. We want you to willingly take these drugs. We don't want to lie about it, just go around. And people are not seeing that and just now realizing that this might be a problem. Like, no, this has been a problem. Like T said, like Mr. O said. And in all honesty, this is going to breed an insurgence, a revolution, and a migration amongst the people in America.
Yes.
Those that stay are going to ride up and try to revolt, and those that can get the hell up out is going to get the hell up out.
You see, when Dominic, the French, was the head of the IMF, they set an African woman as a trap against him to remove him. And then they put the French finance minister to replace him as the head of IMF. And the first thing she did was to say there were too many old people in the world and that it's a danger to world economy. So their plan is to start eliminating the old people. She even pressed third world countries like Argentina that for them to have loan, they have to do something about we, the old people. You see, that is their evil plan. And all this band of feminists are being used as tool. They want to tumble America. They're already taking over the European Union. That is what we are. These are the evil people that want to destroy these same people, this same government that gave us freedom. It is left for us. The whole world, Africa, Europe, and the Americas, we are resisting it. We don't want the vaccine, but they will impose it. Just as they wanted to impose LGBT on us. They will impose it. And our leaders are so corrupt that they will surrender their people.
I mean,
I agree with you that they're super corrupt, though, but I would say as far as the elderly, they're not really going after y'all because the same elderly that they expect to die off are the same ones that are actually in power, especially in the Western society. The oligarchy set up by the baby boomers. So
Yes.
the elderly you're trying to get rid of are the American baby boomers, and they ain't going out without a fight. So as far as America goes, they had to twist it and say, all right, well, we're not going until God takes us. And even then, we're going to go kicking and screaming.
right.
But we will ensure that the current generation, that there's going to be a Children of Men. If anyone's ever seen that movie, that's really what we're going for, what the end game is going to end up being. They're going to continue to mess with the fertility of all races for the current generation, the upcoming generation, the generation after them, until we get to a point where there are no actual children. Like the whole world has actually gone infertile due to them trying to tailor the population, because China did that for me. That was their main thing. They were so adamant you can only have 2 kids. That's it. 2 kids. If you have another one, it got to die. Or you better be lucky and sneak it off to America. But if you can't get it on the boat to America, you got to kill it. That's all we paying for. 2.
Yes.
As a
And
result,
But wait a minute.
now, but see, they see now as a result of that mindset that they don't have the necessary people to help with their elderly and to ensure their culture goes on to another generation. So they saw the error in their ways, but it took several generations of individuals caught up in that corrupt mentality. So they're trying to take a play from what Asia did to curve their population because they've always been able to kind of mainstream that line because they were so adamant about that rule that was overall. They would kill that kid. Like as soon as if they found that you was pregnant with more than your second child, that kid's getting out, that kid's coming out, or you're dying. So we need to really be aware of what America's trying to do,
I think
and get in front of
America
it
will
before we
wake
get ran
up.
over.
All right.
I think America will wake up very soon. Very soon. Because I'm following many information. I'm going through many screen. Look, I think somebody will share the light in America, and
So,
maybe that will burst all over the world.
Teach,
Yes.
what you about to say, Teach?
I was gonna say, I'm just in China, because they are so populous, they
Hmm.
were running into a scarcity of food. And that was the running or the leading reason why they wanted to restrict their numbers, because they were
Yep.
overpopulated and their land mass could not produce as much food as they needed to feed the people. In this case, with Bill Gates and Melinda Gates, um, I don't know what their exact aim is, except um, except that it has always been the issue with the European in seeing their mortality and creating the falsetto that they are the supreme race. If they can reduce the numbers of other races in their psyche, maybe then they would feel really superior, because
Hmm.
they're just another race of people. But because their numbers are always smaller than other populations, they create the narrative that there's not enough oxygen to go around for all the people in the world. There's not enough food for all the people in the world. But when you look closely at every geographical region, there's different places that have famine, and those things naturally occur. But if you allow the people to grow, allow the animals to roam, do what they do,
Nourish.
the God that created this organism knows how to replenish this organism. And for me, it seems like this is a plot from the devil to God. And if we go into the Bible and understand Satan and what Satan did, Satan made war with God. God said, be fruitful and multiply. And even it's recorded that God was angry when the people began to number the people. God was angry at that. Don't count my people. I know what I'm doing as God. And you have these people, Bill and Melinda Gates and the other eugenics and other societies that believe in depopulation. They're in direct war with God. They're saying
Yes, they
that we
are.
want to diminish the numbers for what's in our head, whether it's relevant, whether it's real, whether it's just a fantasy. It's in their head that they want to decrease the population. That is an egotistical train of thought to think that you can think on the level of God and determine the number of people to your satisfaction. Who are you? My question is, who are you? Are you not a mere man or woman that was formed from the dust of the ground? How dare you rise to think that you are a God, that you can number and depopulate the world because of what's in your head?
See, this is a man who has an outstanding scholarship and grant. If you can devise a better contraceptive method than condoms, or a better way to put on condoms, he has an outstanding minimum $10,000 grant for you. And anyone that can make that up, I shit you not. As crazy as it is, I've actually seen it executed. And people have sent in videos and sent in ideas for that concept. Like, this man has some kind of inverse God complex where he feels like, I control the world technologically. So now let me control the world in the metaphysical. Let me actually decide how many people can live on this earth according to my will. Because everything that runs off a computer or runs with an electric charge has my programming in it and my software in it. And for those people that don't know, the quick things like tech-wise, Bill Gates has installs fail-safes in all his programming. Other companies do it as well. But every time a new product comes up, if you ever notice when a new phone comes out, your phone starts to mess up, starts to black out, starts to get weak. Yeah, it's called a fail-safe. They're going to force you to upgrade one way or the other.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I upgraded my last two phones. The screen went black.
Yeah, let me explain to you as an engineer the chip which they want to use on us. The chip is a microcomputer. It contains everything, but it uses the difference of the heat in the body as source of energy. The chips come with pins that connect with the blood of a human being. And once we have internet, you have routers and Wi-Fi, especially 5G, which they're introducing. Every one of us in the world, we have an IP number, which a central server stores on us. They will have our age, date of birth. They can read the activities in our blood that gives information about our state of health. And they can also send a pulse to kill those who they want to eliminate. That is what they are planning.
Well, they have already begun to implement the chip in the Midwestern states at certain companies. They've already begun to receive that. I think at least 2 years back, some employees have agreed to be implanted.
They've done it to the point where I heard about in one company, they had the chips implanted to the point where it was in your wrist and you actually used it like a key card. Like in most companies, you have a key card to get throughout the company, throughout the building. Your RFD chip is how you would open the door to get in the building, how you would open every door, how you would use the copier, any program, any machine in there that you needed, you used it by scanning your wrist over it.
Yes.
With this RFD, I believe it was in Sweden or Europe. But I do know they have been doing it in the Midwest as well. But they've got it to the point where you have complete access to all the electrical components of that area that are synced in with that frequency.
Instead of
So that sounds like the mark of the beast in the Bible. And that's some bull. I don't need my own mark, so I will not be having one. Thank you very much.
See, that is
My
why.
name's Beast. I don't need my own mark. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
See, the problem, you see them, these evil people, the world is not overpopulated. What we have is a big gap between the very rich. Just imagine this boy that founded Facebook in this pandemic has become a central billionaire. That means going to hundreds of billions of dollars. How much does he need to live? Instead of using that extra money to boost agriculture in many of the poor countries of the world, there will be no food for everybody. But they are greedy.
I feel it's that too, but it's more a lack of personal drive coupled with a dependency on a higher power. You know, being corporate, being religious, being whatever it is, but we as a people have lost that personal individual drive that forced each and every one of us to get up and get out and do something.
Yes.
Get on the land and make the land yours. Like I said, we have land. We have a tribe that is so secluded from the world, and they've been that way for God knows how long, and we don't know how long, because if anybody that don't look like them from their land they see, they kill on sight.
Yes.
So
You see,
nobody knows how long they've been there because they ain't giving nobody a chance to talk and find out. So you're not going to tell me that there's not viable land here. There's plenty of land there. Some of it is treacherous. Some of it is barren. Some of it is fruitful and fruitless.
Asia,
Exactly.
You see,
but we got it out here. We just lost that drive to actually go out there ourselves.
Yes.
You know, be the pioneers of our history, so to speak. We don't have that drive no more. The land's still out. There's still stuff to discover. We feel like we've discovered everything. Everything's here. We know everything now. We've gotten complacent. All these big companies have made us believe that the stuff they put in front of us is everything that's out there. And that ain't even a percent of what the whole world has to offer and what's all in the world. So we need to break that mindset first and foremost. Get away from that.
The problem is that they are stupid. They don't know that if they interfere with nature, the earth will spin another way around. We all die.
All right. So we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna end this segment by saying this. It's lucky that y'all can say no. Me, I can't, unfortunately. Thank y'all for making my life more fair. Thank you so very much.
Look here.
Thank you.
One word. Loopholes. Loopholes. Everybody got it.
Look, I will be knowing, knock on wood, as long as hope the show goes as long once the vaccine is out. Hopefully they push the date back. Push the date up even more, hopefully. But if the vaccine is still on date, I'm gonna be your test dummy for, what you said.
All I'm gonna say is this down there. I don't know when the last time you've been to a Kingdom Hall, but you might want to brush up if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I
know. Look, it is. Some people have that right to refuse.
Yeah.
How do you become that person?
So here's a quick insider with the vaccine. I remember because we always gotta get the flu shots like annually. They used to have the shot and the mist, and a lot of the soldiers was like, "Oh, I want to do the mist." And basically, the mist is it goes up your nose and then they just spray it, which is, oh my gosh, it's sometimes I think it's even worse than the shot itself. But then they started to just go straight to the shot. They just switched up on us, and it's just like, or do y'all have the mist? Like, no, we're not using the mist no more. Oh, okay. I mean, so we just doing the shot. But I'm gonna be your test dummy of how that vaccine is working. So teach. So hopefully you don't see two heads of me, okay? Two more heads. That's time I got to explain to my mama, like, which one is my son? Look what y'all did to my son. So that's just going to be a test with that. So
I'm all for modern medicine, but when it turns into
it's a force.
Frankenstein,
Yeah.
that's when I have a problem with when it turns into Frankenstein.
When we go into human testing, let's keep it there. This is human testing.
and then also to go ahead, Mr. Joe, and then I'm gonna jump in.
When the spiritual wake up comes in America, possibly September, remember to join them, because we have to stop these evil people.
Because also, like long time ago, I actually saw a news report where people was actually volunteering to have like chips, microchips in their bodies too as well. So that's when the start really happened. I think it was like sometime in 2015, 2016. I knew I saw the story around that time. I was like, nah, I wouldn't do all that. So we're going to take a little pause for the calls, and then we're going to come back on the story of a little kid that I'm gonna post up that people are saying should get the most attention, as well as George Floyd did. So
yes, that's true. That's true.
I think I know you're talking about that happening around my way.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll be right back. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget the Wet Network. Right now, we are still in the testing phase, and we actually are live on the Wet Network as we speak right now. So I want my panel to go ahead and check this out. So basically, the story around this here is a 10-year-old, well, not 10-year-old, but a 5-year-old got killed, and the guy who actually killed him was black, and it's a very disheartening story. So should this story get as much attention as George Floyd is the question.
Now, from what I'm hearing of the story, this has no rhetoric or connection to police brutality, which is the root cause of George Floyd. This was a deviant individual who decided to take a child's life. It just so happened that deviant individual was a black man and that child was white. I'm not going to use the rhetoric of this child's death needs just as much exposure, because there was another child prior several months ago that was killed involving police brutality, where his father had him in the car. The officers were aggressive. He was trying to get his son out of that situation and give up peacefully, and it ended up with gunfire and the child being killed. One could easily pose and state with just as much vigor and passion that boy's life deserves just as much publicity and notoriety and exposure as George Floyd at this moment. We got to stop using that. Right? Every death means something, and every death that's tragic always means something. But tragedy happens entirely too much, and the more you put it in front of people's faces, the more you're desensitizing them of it, to the point that when the true tragedies and atrocities hit us, we won't know how to properly handle them because we're completely numb to them. That's what they're really doing. Like, that's the end result of all this professed proclamation and pandering. What happened, because from what I was told, the boy was shot point blank by the man. So as far as I go, ain't much need to be said or put on it. You guilty, motherfucker, you gonna die. Whether it's by the state's hand, by God's hand, you gonna die. Hopefully in the prison.
Real quick, is this in your neck of the woods, right? North Carolina, right? Or South Carolina?
Yeah.
Is North Carolina? Okay,
cool. North Carolina, yeah.
All right. So, Mr. O, what is your take on all this? Should it get as much attention, or going back to what Beach Johnson said, it's
Uh,
it's a yeah.
Look, let us be just. It is left. It is left with those who has power to make it known to the world, between them and God. I condemn the killing of this innocent boy, as I condemn all kinds of violence against innocent people. As regards whether to give it a publicity or not, uh, we should not give publicity that later we set the word of racial war into the world. We have seen it. We condemn it. It's between us and our God, if we are honest. We condemn it. Those who are powerful, if they like, let them make it known to the world. If they like, let them know. But if America burns, they will not be exempted.
What about you, Teach?
Well, I think that is no comparison. The circumstances are incomparable, and I'm sorry that the child lost his life. But to put it on a bigger platform that it's already on would really stir deep racial tension. And like
Agreed.
Beast Johnson said, the George Floyd, the outcry is police brutality. And in this case, there was no police brutality. So it's just a regular
It's just regular
homicide.
human tragedy. Human
And
tragedy.
right, it's and then if you emphasize it, then what you'll be bringing out, see, there's a black man, he killed a little white boy. That's racial. And I don't know what the relation was between the man and the child and his family. I don't know the background information, but I do know that it wasn't police brutality.
All right,
So
so
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I'm sorry for the
Chief.
loss of life, but um,
I wouldn't compare
I
the
think
two.
justice prevails.
So why
Most
would
likely,
Yeah, go ahead, Teach. I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you. I'm sorry.
most likely the person that killed him is probably already apprehended or
Oh,
will
he is.
shortly be.
Yes, yes.
So he is.
So
He has been.
yeah, so justice has already been set up. He's gonna go through the justice system.
And first of all, and I know this is gonna rub Mr. O the wrong way. He's a black man, so he ain't gonna have no time to go to a Burger King and get a burger and then he's sent off. So let's be clear about that. So but
if I could jump in on this,
yeah,
well, kind of like segue this one, because this post has me thinking about a earlier post that I saw earlier today that I responded to pertaining to Dan Harmon and the Rick and Morty situation and the whole cancel culture that we spoke on in an earlier podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the whole thing about bringing light to situations, bringing too much. Calm down, sir. Apparently, they want to shoot off fireworks in the neighborhood. But, sir,
seems like the dog got a lot to say. You should have him on the show.
he mad because they bucking her fireworks over there right now. He's like, I ain't with that. He don't like that. But like with Dan Harmon, the whole situation was apparently back in 2009. He was associated with a particular set of content that involved, the premise was dark and macabre, and it was about a time traveler who went back in time to punish serial killers by assaulting them as babies. This was back in 2009, and he called hell for it then. He apologized and kind of moved forward, and it's recently coming to light, and they're trying to use it to cancel the show. And as I explained to people, if everything that is stated is correct, this man admitted his faults, accepted it, and moved forward, and hasn't done anything like that. So if you're going to try to chastise him now over something that happened 10 years ago, that's trivial and stupid. the content you're speaking of has nothing to do with his actual show at the moment. So there's no point in trying to cancel that. It came later to light that the individual that was involved is no longer part of the show or in association with Dan Harmon. So the allegory that people used was, you're not going to shut down Disney just because you find out one of the costume designers is a pedophile. No, you're going to get rid of him and you're going to move forward. That's what he did, and that's what people should accept and move forward. And that's one of those situations where I feel like this story and the question of, and trying to pose that it should be as big as George Floyd is one of those divisive stories and divisive topics that people put out there to take the energy away from the greater things like George Floyd and the police brutality, like the unbalanced deterioration of our nation. These are the conversations that we need to be having about the civil rights and human rights of blacks in America. These are the conversations we need to have. But when you bring up topics like this, it causes us to become divisive, and we forget, and we try to like, well, this is associated with it, and then you spend more time talking about that than the primary objective.
All right,
so I'm not down. I'm not down. Like, as far as his death, I'm not downplaying that whatsoever. It's a tragedy. It happened. It shouldn't have happened. But for us to put too much exposure on it, like T said, and like Mr. O said, it's only going to breed racial tensions and just cause a big old race riot. Right, we don't need that now.
Right. So let me play devil's advocate, because I couldn't do it for a while because everybody else wanted to play devil's advocate.
That's why we chilled out for a while.
Look, so I'm gonna start wearing that I'm the devil's advocate from now on. So let me go ahead and just share the spot, because y'all all touched on this point. These y'all, you just mentioned it earlier. You would get a lot of people that says, "Oh, if he was a black little kid killed by a white man, this would have got all the attention. CNN would be covering it. Fox News would be covering it. Local news, everybody. Then this white man gonna be, the enemy of the state." What do y'all say to that? And I'm gonna start with Teach. What do you say to that when people say?
I'll say that's not true, because it happens all the time. And the issue really is police brutality. And the whole banner of Black Lives Matter is that in the wake of police brutality, in common civilian cases, neighborhood situations, that happens all the time. And it shows on the local news, and depending on how heinous the crimes, it might go on the national news. But the peculiarities surrounding George Floyd was the pinnacle of the mountain of deaths that had accumulated. His story was not popular just because African Americans felt hurt and pain. His story became popular because the spirit of the ancestors stepped in. His story was carried through the air on wings. So it was beyond just a human sharing the story. The Spirit of God stepped in for George Floyd, and it went worldwide. So for me, in these situations happen all the time. All the time.
What about you, Mr. O?
If it has been a white killing a white child, a black killing a white child, yes, it will have been pumped out of proportion, especially because of the political moment that we are going through. But the only thing I want us black people, as I said in the beginning, let us stand for justice. Justice has no color or gender. With that, others do not see us as enemies. So when there is a crime, we all must condemn it. no matter the color of skin. A crime is a crime. And this is a crime. The killer has been arrested. Let justice take its course.
All right. What about you, Beast?
I mean, with the question being posed, if it was a black killed a white, little, if it was a white man killed a black baby, they say no, because like T said, it happens countless times, and it's been happening countless times. It probably didn't happen at the moment we're talking right now, to be bloody and tragically honest. Some white man probably didn't kill the little black child right now. We don't know nothing about, or we about to go find out about, and we'll never find out about, because that's how often it happens. The big shakeup is it was a black man that killed a little white baby, and we all know when little white babies die, America's supposed to rise up. History has taught us in the media that when little white children go missing, when little white children are in harm, we as America are supposed to come together. We're going to find that little white baby. We're going to find little Kristen. She in the well, we'll send 150 motherfuckers down there, hand and feet connected together. I don't care. We'll dig a hole together. We will go to God and slap him in the face to save that little white baby. That's what America does. So we didn't see that now. And that's why everybody got their panties in the bunch. They saw a little white baby shot by a black man. And then you see that black man, he looked like your typical hood, stereotypical black guy. Mm-hmm. So you see this ratchet nigga shot this precious little white boy. And you white people ain't riding out. What's wrong with you? Where's your white heritage? Where's your America? I thought we was Americans. Where's your patriotism? We're not seeing that. We saw that in the 90s and the 80s. We're not seeing that now. And that's why people are harping. That's why, this deserves the same amount of prestige and exposure as George Floyd. Once again, it's a divisive topic. People are mad that naturally something takes more priority than a white life. And that's what's pissing them off over this one right here.
What about this situation where I can't think of the lady's name, but she killed her 2 kids and ran off and married a man and pretended she didn't know where her kids, claimed that they were missing, and then
look.
all the stories where these white women have killed their children, and they say, "Oh, it was a big black girl man that killed my children," and they find.
Yeah, I was right with you till you said she left and got married. I was like, hold on, I don't know about that one.
No, there are many cases.
That's a new one for me.
That is the American way for white people to kill their kids and blame it on the black man.
No, yeah, that's happened too. It's condemnable. We look. Say, let us leave the color of skin alone. That is where we have to lead as people who are spiritual.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But as long as we look the different shade, it's not gonna happen.
But we continue with our message, not putting fuel into fire. Let us teach them that we are the world. Crime has no color of skin. We condemn crime. That should be our
like I'm with you till you start saying we can't accept race, because it's like, let's be real. If a white man bopped you in the back of the head with a Slim Jim and took your wallet, you're gonna be as descriptive as possible when another human being
I agree
harms you, or when you're in if something bad happens, you're gonna be as descriptive as possible. So like, I always go back to the same point. Until we all look the same, the color of your skin will always play some kind of role.
Yeah.
Mostly in the negative, but hopefully we can move that from the negative to the positive. And that's what our goal is, to move that to the more positive. Because it's always going to be there until we all look the same.
And how these 5 black men were railroaded and their lives taken away from them.
I can't even watch that thing.
They wanted to believe that these 5 black boys were guilty, and they were not. They lost their lives.
That is injustice. Lucy, that is injustice,
Right.
and justice is corrupt all over the world, and
Right.
especially the weak are the one that have been abused. That is what I want us to understand.
But
Is it
it
not?
also pertains to this too.
So we
That's what everybody's
colorblind
thinking.
when these
Yeah,
type of atrocities
justice,
exist.
justice is corrupt all over the planet.
Because you
And
know
that
when they
is
say, you know how they say justice is blind. Honestly, I'm so confused on. I feel like I lose when it's blind to when it can see. Because when
no,
they see who's,
yeah,
it's
because
like when they see who's getting,
yeah,
charged or who is
no,
it for, then
no,
then it flips, and then
justice,
it'd be like, oh snap, that person get defended, okay, and then the blinds are
no,
back on.
justice is
Exactly.
blind.
Did you see?
Corruption is the one that.
Recently a young
Go,
black teenager? I don't know what crime he had committed, but when he went into court, he asked the judge, could he be tried as a white man? Did you all see that story?
no, I did not.
Mm-mm.
Didn't see the story?
I
Well,
would. I
he
need
asked
to.
the
Did you hear?
judge. You know how the judge always asks, "Do you have anything to say?" He said,
Mm-hmm.
"I want to know, can I be tried as a white man? Because your black man justice is just too harsh. I want to be tried as a white man."
She's
That's
correct. I
honest.
agree. I
That's
agree.
honest.
What I want to say is that justice is blind. It is corruption that gives eyes to justice. That is why we have to fight corruption, because it is the root of many injustice. Justice
Yeah,
is blind.
yeah, and then see,
I can
that's why I
agree
agree with
with
you.
that.
Yeah, and I agree with you, and so that's why I was saying like I'm confused on like it's supposed to be blind, but you can see at the same time. So it's like damn if you do and damn if you don't,
No,
Well,
because
see,
because
I think the whole
justice,
term of
justice,
justice is
justice is
blind is
blind.
supposed to mean that justice,
everybody should be equal across the
Equal
exactly,
board.
under
yeah,
the law, yes.
justice being blind meaning justice is unbiased. Justice
No,
is like God; it has no master, knows no
no.
favor,
Look, let me continue.
holds no one over the other. It'll
Right.
Look,
easily strike down on the rich as it will the poor, the prince or the pauper, the king or the peasant. Like
Right.
that's
But
where it was supposed. I think that's where it was supposed to mean.
right.
Obviously,
let
it
me
means
comment.
Go ahead,
blind.
Michelle. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
No,
Go
let
ahead. Go ahead,
me
Michelle.
let me explain
good
to you
point.
why the
God's
question is not.
justice and man's justice. They're two
There you
different
go.
things. That's
Let me
it.
say,
God's
yeah,
justice and man's justice.
All right. Go ahead,
yes,
That's
Michelle.
the missing link.
uh, look,
Go ahead, Michelle.
justice in the Western civilization has its roots in the Roman justitia. Justitia starts with Euro, Jupiter. In the Roman time, Jupiter was classified as il optimus et maximus. So all justices were sworn to Euro, to Jupiter, the optimum and maximum. It has no fear of anyone. That is where it comes from, that it should be blind, because judges only have fear of Euro. That is why Abraham Lincoln said that a magistrate is a slave, not of the law, nor of his people, but of his God. You see, that is how we have been using justice in Western world since Roman Empire, but it was corrupted.
Yep. There you go.
Because
I mean,
yes, yeah,
money, money,
Yeah.
money.
even in the Roman Empire, the same Roman that were telling me about Jupiter in Optimus et Maximus, that were telling me that Euro, I swear, to Jupiter, they were corrupt. So anything that man really creates can never be perfect.
Think about it. Look,
Exactly.
I'm gonna use New York for example. Their federal court. It's not too
Mm-hmm.
far. It's not too far away from Wall Street. Think about
That's
that.
fast.
Think about
That is
that.
fast.
Wall
That, that,
Street has gotten away with what happened. Well, 1987 when the stock market crashed. What
The
happened in
bailout.
2008 when the country was at the lowest of lows, and then also, I think, yeah, that was a housing crash where people said,
Mm-hmm.
get these nice houses, and these loans that they were giving was basically just a sheet of paper, and it just wrote down, and it just
Yes.
made all this money,
And
and
they all have bank
nobody got,
accounts. And
yeah.
they all have bank accounts in Wall Street.
Mhm. Yep.
Yep.
And no, only a few people went to jail. They was a sacrificial lambs.
Of
Well,
course.
Mm-hmm.
Wells
This is
Fargo
how
did.
bad that situation is. If you
Yeah.
ask people now where they would invest their money, more folk would rather invest their money in illegal drugs or illegal cannabis than they
Yes.
would the stock market because they feel like I'd rather go out here and try to legalize weed or sell crystal meth than
Mhm.
buying the stocks. They're
Yeah.
safer.
Right, because everybody got screwed. Only a couple people got prosecuted, but
Yes.
all the big banks and all that stuff got bailed out. Like nothing
Oh,
happened.
That is
watch
how it
American
works.
Greed. You will see how bad
Not
it really
America.
was.
It is part of the Western civilization, the capitalist system. It is part of it.
And the
You
crazy
know?
thing is, all the judges probably, well, not probably, we already know all the judges and all the stockbrokers and brokerage and everybody cool
They
with
are
each other.
rich. All
Mhm.
of them, they are rich.
Yeah, and
It's
they
like
probably just sit there just chilling.
it is a
You know
lodge.
what?
It's a
As we had
lodge.
this conversation, it made me think about something. The movie Sin City. And there's a moment in
Yep.
there where the actor Booth Powers is talking with Bruce Willis,
Mm-hmm.
and he's telling him straight up and down pretty much how all politics is run and how the powerful move. It ain't about money. It ain't about favor. It's about lies. It's about knowing everybody's lives and making
Mm-hmm.
sure that they I know more about their lives than they know about my lives. He was like, I can shoot you right now. There's 100 people in here that say they never saw me. Why? Because I know everything that they lie about. And if I have to open up on my lies, then everybody behind me has to open up on theirs. And they ain't going to have that happen. So since I know everybody's lies, I got all the power in this shit.
It
I'll
kind of
run
remind you of,
stuff.
it's kind of like remind you of like a mobster, like gangster movie where you think the
Mm-hmm.
Godfather knows everything until that one agent comes in. He's like, I know what you're doing. I know about your side chicks. I know about your bank accounts. I know about all the dealings you do. I could get you if I want to, but I'm gonna let you breathe for now. But I need you to do
Shoot, ain't
this
nothing
for
they
me.
can do. Yep.
Right. Yeah. So, all right. So we're gonna take another break, another pause for calls. Go ahead, Cheech, and go ahead and add on. Got anything to
Yeah,
add?
I just had a thought come through my mind, and I guess you all haven't been political for a while, so you all can get political on this topic.
Hmm.
Um, the number 45 has defunded United States postal system and shut down their sorting machines,
Oh yeah, I
so
heard about
the mail cannot be delivered.
Now,
All
was this
in
supposed to be?
response,
it. Mm.
all in
Go ahead, Cheech.
response to various states encouraging the mail-in ballot because of the new
Did you?
coronavirus. They don't want the
Dang.
people to come out and
But when she
possibly
come back in,
contract the virus voting for the president. So they have created new legislature to allow for mail-in voting, and number 45, in his corrupt way, in his corrupt and insane mode of thinking, decides to defund the post office, shut down their sorting machines so the mail cannot run. That is a
Now,
crime.
mm-hmm.
yeah, I would say that if he would approach it from the sense of we're going to take the automated services of the essentials that we have now, like the post office sorting machine, and we're going to make them inoperable for a moment so we can retool them and whatever, say some technical BS. But while they're inoperable, we will actually bring in humans those who have been afflicted by the corona pandemic and who are not actually working, they will be given an opportunity to become furloughed workers, or no, individuals already furloughed, be repurposed and become mail sorters and be able to regenerate an income. If he'd have said it like that, with the same mentality that you said, it'd have been so smooth. But as we say, 45 is a dumb fuck.
Right, he has no intelligence. There's none to be had.
Say so.
But the
He
thing
has
is
intelligence.
he's so narrow-minded.
You cannot say so. He's greater than you. He's built an economic empire. You have done nothing. Be respectful to him. Look, the council
Oh my God.
empire giving jobs to so many
I
people.
don't worship people.
You don't want the
I do
then
not
you want the
worship
vaccine.
people.
The Democrats want to
Okay?
vaccinate you.
That is
He's
the
standing on their way.
brokest white man that you
No,
know.
forget it.
All
Look,
of
I
his
said you are
empire is
ignorant.
based
No,
on
your
corruption.
hatred has
He
made
uses
you
other
ignorant.
people's money.
Like those
He
people's
uses
money,
other
the
people's
Democrats are
money.
corrupt.
He has
The
none. That's
Democrats
why
are
he doesn't
corrupt.
want to turn over his taxes.
Listen,
But more
the
to the
Democrats
point,
that is why black people are having
by
problems.
throwing down the mail, you interrupt our lives. Our lives depend upon the mail. And
You have no look.
and
I say
just to slow
you
it
are
down,
corrupt.
just for the sake of trying to steal the election.
No, he did not steal it. He did not. He's not going to steal it. Democrats are
He
thieves.
stole the
They are
first one, and he's planning on stealing the second one because
No,
he feels
listen to me.
inferior.
You are a liar.
And he feels that he cannot win
you cannot
if
be
the
a
people
Christian.
vote.
I say you
Calm
cannot
down,
be a
Uncle
Christian.
Ruckus.
You lie too much.
Calm down, Uncle Ruckus. We're
Well,
not going
since
to do
we
this.
You can't. You are not.
practice
You can't. You lie too
separation
much.
of-
Hey,
we
are fake.
practice a
You are fake.
separation of church and state.
Look,
What my
listen to
religious
me.
beliefs are
He's
has
all
no
pure-
bearing
he's all
on
pure
his
rhetoric.
corruption.
The Democrats want to kill black people. Listen to it.
Stop. No, Democrats are not trying to do nothing because Republicans.
Yeah, no, listen to me. Listen to me.
Republicans
I'm
don't
not.
give a shit about black people. I don't give a fuck what your party is.
This is my purpose. My contract.
You cannot say it's not intelligent. The man is a brain.
My
The man is a great
contract
person.
to pay me for my
He
job
what?
is in the mail.
Yeah,
He
I mean,
has
everything.
stopped the mail from running. I, Anita, can't get my contract. I can't sign it. I can't send it back. I
you can sign
can't get paid. That is
Look.
corruption.
No,
It's disrupting our
everything is not
lives.
electronic. There are
It's
electronic mail
disrupting
where you
our
can sign.
Not
lives
everything is
because he
electronic,
is
sir. Not
afraid
everybody
he
still has
cannot
access
win
to
the
electronics.
election.
They are implementing it in
That's
Argentina.
BS.
Look, hold on.
100% BS.
Let's stop. Let's get a breath. Let's get a breather. So let me get one thing straight. Down. Let y'all go at it. So let's get one thing straight. Don't even try pulling the Democrats because right now Republicans has been trying to do that for a hot minute. They've been trying to privatize almost every damn thing, including the post office. They've been trying to cut that for a hot minute. So don't try to put everything on Democrats. Don't try to get on that Republican bandwagon like Republicans are honest and all that stuff. They've been destroying this country.
Ain't shit honest about politics,
They've
period.
been destroying it. They have not been about black issues. They have not doing nothing. By me saying this, I'm not saying that the Democrats have been doing the same either because they just be championing it and don't do anything. So let's get that way from Democrat Party. But one thing I hate that I hear when definitely for people that look like us that's on the Republican side, they make it seem like the Republicans been doing a lot for black folks. I have not seen not one Republican politician down there we had with George Floyd. I ain't seen one of them suckers come down there.
Not there one of them.
They will go down to a black church and they go be well. Actually, they barely even go to a black church. Name one black.
Not unless it's election season.
Well, no, not even that. Name one. I mean, they always talk about religious freedoms and they're getting taken away, but I ain't seen one Republican go to a black church and actually sit down with them. The Democrats go to a black church more than anything. I have not seen one Republican. Only one person.
The evangelicals are mixed churches and they are white people and many are Republican. The evangelicals mix it up.
One
white
one
and black.
Republican.
There are white and
One
black
Republican.
evangelical churches, and there are many.
No, I'm talking about black churches. I'm not talking about those mixed ones. I'm talking about black churches. Those black churches.
You're talking about Baptist, Pentecostal, AME, Zion, AME, Episcopal, Holiness. That's what we talking about.
I'm talking about the ones where they be standing feeling the Holy Ghost. Those churches. I'm not talking about those mixed ones. Only one in my lifetime that I see.
They have the Negro section.
Yeah.
You heard me. We talking Baptist, Pentecostal, Presbyterian.
Yeah, we talking
non-denominational, conventional, holiness, AME, AMZ. That's African Methodist Episcopalian and African Methodist Zion. For those of y'all that don't know.
Right. So only one black Republican that I seen actually go to a black church, and that was Bob Dole. I believe he's still alive. I love that Republican because he went into the black community.
Bob Dole was cool though. Yeah, Bob Dole was cool as hell.
Even though you had to listen to him to understand him, but I love Bob Dole. If Bob Dole actually came down and visited the social, I would shake his hand.
Dole supported Viagra. So as a man, he had everybody's respect. Like that's a manly thing to be like, I need help in that area, and this helps me. I'm Bob Dole, and I support Viagra. We was like, you was a real nigga for that, my G.
Yeah.
He was a real nigga.
He even did a Pepsi.
It would have been me.
Pepsi. He did a Pepsi commercial. Britney Spears. That dog bark. He say, "Easy boy."
Exactly.
But I just
there are many segregated churches in the U.S. I was told when I travel. Even Africans have their own church. See that there's a community-based churches in the U.S. that I was told when I went to the U.S. that Americans work together in the week, and on the weekend, on Sunday, they go to their different churches based on their community.
Yeah, but
so
I just wanted to just step into what you and Cheech were talking about because you kept on saying the Democrat Party, but Republicans been trying to privatize the postal service for a hot minute, for a long time.
Yes, it's that is a different case. That they want to privatize post office is very capitalist.
No, you can't go there.
It has nothing to do with Donald Trump.
Go there.
They got somebody.
There's a private business that UPS that is all over the world. No, that's the efficiency of the.
No, you can't say that. No, let me get there. You can't say that because that's that beaten wife mentality. That's like, yeah, I know he slapped me in the head with a baseball bat, but he treats me good, and I've never made love to another man better than him. Like, no. You can't sit there and say and agree that they just as wrong, but then try to slip in a backhand compliment to defend them. Like, nah, they wrong. Democrats wrong. The whole political system is wrong. Period.
This is what Republicans do with privatization. Privatization takes the.
Well, you see, privatization is an ideology already of the right. I know that it's not because of who is the president or not. The right has always spoken about privatization. Many times, it contains a lot of social injustice. That's also cause for an analysis. But anyway, the whole political system is wrong. We know the whole political system has big errors. Okay, well, let us then look forward to see. Everybody's fighting for his own. Look, I said these are interesting times. We shall soon see how the political system in the U.S. work out.
Okay, so with that same logic,
these are interesting times.
But with that same logic, I'll let you step in, Cheech. With this same logic, if Democrats was doing that, would you be for it?
Nope.
If Democrats have been doing it, I will support it. I will support the private enterprise. Although I know that post office, the government can intervene because there are very small communities that need a post office and they cannot sustain it with what they earn. That is a different case. But if Democrats have done this, I will not have problem. I will not have problem.
But you know that for me, and then I'm gonna let Cheech get up in here. But the reason why I take this so much offense to what's happening to the Postal Service majority of their staff are veterans, and Republicans are supposed to be for the veterans. Like
Yes.
I didn't even know that. Like when I went to a postal service like a long time ago, there's a retired major from the Navy and a retired colonel from the freaking Army, and they both was two women, just working up in the postal service by themselves. And
Yes.
you are, I mean, but here's the gist: you are for the veterans. Like
Yeah.
the majority of the soldiers here are Republican, even though they like the only reason why they support Republicans because some of them are like that anyway. But majority of the reason why they support Republicans is because they give us a higher pay raise at the first
Well,
part of the year. That's it. But you gotta realize there's a lot of veterans. That's their go-to job
yes,
because
yes, you are
yeah,
not.
When you retire, you can go to
Yes.
the post
You
office.
fundament
Yeah.
your base.
And that job also transfer over to their retirement too as well,
Yes,
which is great.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with you on that.
yeah.
The
But
thing
I
is
mean,
that if they now since the
And did
most
you
of them
know
are
that-
veteran, and then they say they're supporting the veteran, they will lose those votes. That is the clear thing. If they play
But that's what the
dirty,
Republicans are doing right now. If y'all actually
it's
paying
all back
attention,
against them. So why it's
a
not
lot
question
of
of who is in the White House. If they
I
carry
mean, you
out
seeing it now.
a policy that affects many veterans, they will lose the support of the veterans. So
But like I
that is
said, you're seeing that right now.
So
You're praising Trump, but there are many, many, many Trump supporters, many people that he spoke to personally, that he was on tape, on camera, stating that your job will not be affected once I'm a president. Your job will not be outsourced. And the same people he said that to their faces lost their jobs. It's like hundreds of
other
thousands of people
candidates have been saying it.
that
Other candidates have been saying that we work with veteran. Obama, George Bush, Clinton, all of them have been saying the same thing for years. They promised veterans, and no one solved
he
the
said he
problem.
wasn't a politician. Remember that? But that's all I'm gonna say. He did say he wasn't a politician.
okay,
there you go.
Politician.
okay.
But yeah, go ahead, G.
First thing, you all changed the subject. The subject was corruption in the White House to steal the votes by not allowing those that mail in votes to get their ballots cast by defunding the post office so the mail cannot run. All right. So you all totally got away from the topic. But the second thing that I want to say is that this is how Republicans work. Republicans believe in privatization. They believe in smaller government. They believe in no regulation. And all
Yes.
that in theory sounds good. But if this underlay for the overplay of privatizing United States Post Office, this is how it looks. Right
Yes,
now,
no.
average government worker come on board between $19 and $25 an hour as a United States Postal Service, probably more for years of service, whatever have you. The moment it is privatized, they will fire all those employees and bring them back on board or hire new people at $10 an hour, which is not a livable wage. That's how privatization works when you take
Yes.
away from a government organ, because in the government organ, they're not looking for profits. They are looking to move the product. And that's what they do. And that's how they're able to give the people a decent, workable wage that allows them to have health insurance. When they privatize, they slash the wages so low that the people cannot even afford to purchase health insurance because now they're at a non-livable wage. Now it looks good. They'll turn around and say, oh, we hire 500,000 people. But they don't say that they got rid of 1 million jobs. They just say we hire 500,000 people. But what about the other 500,000? They don't mention them.
No.
Okay. I lived in a Republican state and I lived in a Democratic state. And I see the differences in every Republican state that I ever lived in. Most people have to work 2 jobs. Okay?
Kentucky.
When I lived in a Democratic state, people had 1 job and was able to maintain and have vacations and live the life. When I moved to that Democratic state and everybody worked 2 jobs, I'm like, huh, what's wrong with y'all? They work for privatized companies. They didn't earn any money. They had to work 2 jobs in order to equal the pay of the 1 job that's offered in a Democratic state. So you can scream politics all you want, but for the average person, they will live in a Democratic state because they know they can make more money.
Let me come in. Now, the last part of the exposition is acceptable. What I did not want is pinpointing on Donald Trump. That is how the right, there's a way the right, that's why you have the right and the left in ideologies of politics. That was done in Argentina. I have 3 jobs, and moreover, I still have my own independent activities, economic activities. I even, if I had known when I came to Argentina that it was like this, I would have seized the opportunity. Argentina also privatized the railways, the post office, and we know what to explain how the right works of reducing the state. It is known that is that one you can attack it, and I agree with you. I will only tell you that the other ones too, they have a reason of wanting a smaller state. That should not have been a problem of, the debate would have been different. Don't demonize Donald Trump for this. The right has been right in their way. The left have been left in their way. Wanting
You're
to share.
Listening. You're not listening. He just did it, and my contract is in the mail. I can't get my contract because they slowed the mail down. I can't get it and sign it and send it back. I'm talking about real life here. Real life.
That's messing with my money. They used to cut me.
He's talking about the election. I'm talking about getting my contract signed so I can get paid. So I'm not demonizing him. I'm highlighting the evil that he's doing.
That's not even gaslighting.
Highlighting the evil. This is real life.
You have the right to protest what you think is against your interest. I have no problem with that. It's happening all over the Western world between the conservatives and the liberals. Look, in Argentina, the things that we mix it up here. We one man comes say privatize, and then there's the state is overpopulated. I work in the state school, in one of the universities. I led the Federal University, and then in the Council of Magistrates and they appoint friends. They load it, and then both of them are opposite faces. And both of them, they have their personal interest. It's not necessarily of the masses. I have 3 jobs, and then I also have another activity independent in computer technology. So it's, and then I have other activities too. That is the thing. And if I want to start losing money from this program, I have another activity. You see?
But Mr. O, I only wish that what you said was actually happening, but it's not. What Teacher's saying is, with him doing that to the post office, she's not going to get her contract. Maybe
you
some
created a real life situation.
Should we get it?
Yeah.
Should we get it? Should we
your
get
petty,
it?
Your petty insecure notion.
Pandemia is has destroyed many business, and many other business will spring up. But when there's a necessity, somebody will create a business out of it, and that is the United States of America. You will get it.
But postal. But here's the thing. But here's the thing. Now let you step in, B. Johnson. Here's the thing, though. What Teacher's saying for what he's doing, because I can't go too far on it. But what Teacher's saying, for him to use this tactic to save himself for this administration to save themselves is sacrificing people's everyday need for getting mail.
I disagree with that.
But yes, but that's what she's trying to say. I'm saying the administration. The administration is doing this tactic. Yes. And to tell you the truth, on hindsight, if you got that kind of stroke, I don't blame you. Don't hate the player, hate the game. But by the administration doing that is sacrificing people who actually need the mail. And you know how much UPS, FedEx is? So you tell people, okay, don't use the postal service. Now you got to use high-ass FedEx and UPS or DHL. But what happened if the company that she's going through only uses the U.S. Postal? Then what?
That was gonna be my point.
Yeah. Then what if her let's say her check, I'm not gonna say her contract, her check was in one of those machines that now had to be taken out. Now what? Yeah. Now she gotta wait another freaking 2-3 weeks, maybe even a month. So you really want to sacrifice something, because she may not be the only one. It could be.
I'm not. I'm just an example.
She has the rights.
Classes start on Monday, and I have not received my contract.
And you still got
to tell me when I'll receive my contract, and I can't get paid before they get the contract back in the mail.
Right.
So
and then
everything is derailed. And I'm just one person.
But then also, what about
bank transfer? Bank transfer. All salaries now go through bank transfer. Yeah. So that is. I understand your pain, but I'm just telling you that they are all playing the same game. All of them.
Well, I got you.
Also a political weapon.
But see, this is what you're not understanding. You're playing with people's lives. Now, she's just speaking about monetarily. You want to talk about corporations and privatizing? You have private companies whose sole business is to expedite medications. Individuals that have to take monthly, lifelong medications, that have to take 30-day supplies. So this is what the company does. They allow you to get shipped 3 months a supply of all your drugs, but that comes through the post office, because those are drugs, and drugs that go through UPS, because I work for UPS, or any other logistical warehouse, has to be involved with the ATF, because any trafficking or transporting of drugs across state lines is a felony.
They will solve it.
So ATF has to be involved with that.
Yeah, they'll solve it because people are going to go out to the polls and vote him out.
I'm not finished. Now, with you defunding, and like you're saying, putting the slowdown and the hamper, I'll give you a primary example. When it comes to UPS and the checks, my paycheck, if I get a live check, my paycheck comes from UPS on the same trucks that I unload, and that comes out of Texas. So, for example, there was a terrible mudslide in Oklahoma, and the truck that was coming out of Texas had just left right before the thing hit. So it got caught in it. So everyone in my job had to wait 3 days extra in order to get their paychecks. That was a lot of individuals that had to pay a lot of bills, rent, lights, utility, certain situations that they had already factored in, having that money there by that time. Now they had to play audibles. They had to shuffle stuff around to make sure whatever necessities they needed to keep, they still had for those extra days that they were told they had to wait. So that's just for money. You got people out here now that because of this defunding, they are losing the access to their medications. We're talking about the senior citizens. So we're going back to your point about attacking the elderly. You have people that cannot physically get out to these areas, and it's because of the mail and the mail alone that they have an actual connection to the outside world, and they're able to get their necessities. So you're defunding something that is now putting your actual constituents, the people you expect to
At
vote for
risk.
you, at risk of dying on top of a global pandemic. How smart of an individual are you? There's no way you can praise this
Not
kind
at
of
all.
idiocy.
No,
Not
no.
at
You
all.
see, I understand all your narrative. The only thing I'm amazed that with all the advancement of technology in the US, why still sending paychecks in paper? Here in Argentina, a third world country, a transfer are made automatically to saving accounts of everyone. In fact, there's a law in Argentina where everybody, even
Just
primary
because
school
the
children,
option
have
exists does
have
not
a
mean
free
everyone
bank
has
account
the access or the
so
choice
that all
for it.
the transaction.
Mr. O,
Yeah.
Mr. O,
So,
let me screw you on something. No, you know what? I'm let Beast John. You go and help. You say something, Beast John, did
yeah.
not come back.
See,
I follow.
you talk about payments. All right, you talk about payments in America. Yes, I work 2 jobs. My second job, yes, is electronically transferred through my account. I get an email letting me know I've been paid.
Yes.
There's a problem with that. Here's the offset about electronic payments. I still need a pay stub to prove and verify how many hours I truly worked. And that might be required for my rent, my medical, or any other necessity or assistance I might need. So if I'm telling them that I got paid $950, they need to see a statement saying how many hours does that equate for that pay period. Is that pay period in 1 week? Is that pay period 2 weeks? Is that bi-monthly? No. How was that paid? So that's the issue right there. You have other jobs that do not offer that. They are structured to where you have to get a paper check. It might be a check that requires you to go to a cash place. I've had jobs that required me to have checks that I could not go to my own bank and cash. Mm-hmm. I had to go to a cash place in order to cash a paycheck and then deposit it into my bank account. So we have various ways to get our money, but not everybody is on the unilateral front. So once again, it all goes back to that, and back to the defunding. You're messing with people's money. You're messing with people's lives. It's
I'm
wrong.
Surprised.
There's no valid point that you can give in defense of that.
Yeah, I'm still surprised. Because here they do transfer to my saving accounts. Then instead of paper, they send the details to me by emails. We use all this technology here, which was invented in the US. That is my surprise.
Yeah, but here's and then also to add on to what Beast Johnson was saying. I'm gonna tell you this straight up. There has been lots of old cats that have been around the block that literally looked at me and they was like, "Man, I don't trust that technology. I don't want to be tracked. I'm gonna stick with the old-fashioned way. Let me get my check and go cash it." So the last check I ever cashed was back in Kentucky when I went to a liquor store, and you can concur on this. There was a lot of freaking drive-in liquor stores in Kentucky.
I know, but I had to cash a couple checks my way myself.
Had to go there with an ID. They take their little cut, and then they give you the rest of the cash right there in hand. Like there were places where I thought I could go cash. I think I tried to cash it at a bank, and they wouldn't allow me. You either had to have an account with it because my bank was Wells Fargo, and the nearest Wells Fargo was Nashville at that time, and Nashville was like an hour 45-minute drive, not too far, but it's pretty far off. I want to get my cash. Yeah, so Mr. O, what you saying is true. Yes, we got technology that is like far beyond the country,
but it's not unilateral.
But you still got people who sometimes, not sometimes, majority of times, pulling that tinfoil hat. Oh, I don't want the government to track me. I don't want to know how much I'm making and all that stuff. So just give me my check in the mail so I can cash. That I can give to the bank and can cash it.
Well, see, it's valid responses behind that because, like, it's got paperwork. I've been in a situation where it's like you're supposed to get your money because they're doing direct deposit, but because the paperwork didn't go through or it got smudged or whatever, you can't get your check, and now you got to go through extra hell to get your check because they were supposed to, because they said they gonna do it, and all you have to do is go through that one or two times. If you're given the option for a live check, you'll do a live check. It has benefits either way.
Right.
But if given the option, most people would just say, I'll take a live check because with a live check, I get to see how much I made. And then with a live check also, you have to print out, my itemized hours and give me a summary. Right. So there's benefits to that. I think your point with technology, but it's not. It shouldn't be
because here the government, the tax office, I pay my taxes, of course, and in fact, when I have to give invoice to my customer, I go into the government's website and from there print out, my invoice for them to pay me. So when all of my income in the last 10 years, I can even see it in that government website. So I know that here information technology, they pump information IT into all the government structure. So they are able to know how much you earn, and when you want to get dollars, they of course the government uses it to control you too. But I thought all these things were copied from the US.
No, just because
they are.
Just because the government,
they are. But the thing
that
that you have to recognize that we seem to be overlooking, when you privatize a big government agency and break it down into small businesses, those small businesses do not have the resources that one huge governmental agency once had. So there's some smaller companies
that is true.
And they cannot pay the ACH, that's what it's called, to do that electronic processing. So it's cheaper for them, for their accountant, to cut checks. There's a lot of small companies that they can't deal with that big technology because it costs money.
Mm-hmm. And that means small businesses.
Well, banks here.
That's the downside. And it's not just paychecks. There's other things. There's insurance awards. There's all different kind of ways that people will receive a check. So it's not just tied into pay. It's tied into life.
Through the mail.
But in my case, I'm not even concerned about the check. My case is getting the contract.
You will get it.
I know I will get it. But why stress me?
I mean, if this was 1895 and we had no technology, you'd be valid for saying that. But this 2020, ain't no excuse for this.
Look, you have.
That's the point she's making.
There is some pad. You connect it to USB, and you can sign electronically, and it checks. Then you print it out. I mean, there's technology for
Again, I work for a small college, and they want live signatures. They don't want they're not up to date with the electronic signatures.
Yeah. Well, okay.
They want a live signature.
Electronic signatures aren't completely valid,
right?
Because it's not your real signature,
right? Which goes back to what me and B. Johnson
with your fingertip.
Yeah, it goes back to what me and B. Johnson say. You got businesses that's not too tech savvy, as we would say. They still go through it old school. And if they do go the technological route, it will be just what Teacher's saying. We still want to see the physical. We still want to see the real thing. Even if you just decide.
I work for a company that pays me direct deposit, and I still have to do paperwork. We still have paperwork. We still have to sign things and turn in things. So
many trees will continue to die.
Technology go so far.
Many trees will continue to die. When we're talking about the green and the green, we have to go electronic in order to reduce those paper so that more trees will not die.
I mean,
a contradiction.
I got it.
And then after this, we're gonna go into a final thought. Go ahead.
My response question to that is, you talk about all the trees that die for the paper that we need. How much of the Africa's soil and minerals must be unearthed unjustly in order
Of
for you
course,
to electronically use your electronics. Think about all the zinc,
no,
all,
no, no,
all every
no,
mineral
no,
that's
no, no,
found
no.
within Africa. Those are
Look,
used to power every bit of
The
electronics in
I
America
coltan,
and
the
know,
globally.
coltan from the
So when you
the
talk
Congo.
water,
about, so yes,
the
sir.
water,
When you talk about that,
listen, the
you are
water.
better. You are more okay with the
No, 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 no,
raping and
no.
pillaging of
I'm
your
not.
African
No, no, no,
heritage
no.
in the
I'm not.
soil
I'm
where you
not.
came
Listen
from.
to me.
Oh yeah, I'm
I'm
going
not.
there. Oh yeah, I'm
I'm
going
not.
there.
No, no. This is not so.
Yeah, I'm going
This. Look,
there.
this. No, that is an no. And
You
that is
walked
a
into
low, that
that
is a
one.
low blow.
That was a
Listen,
good one.
look,
You walked
these
into
oil
that one.
companies
Look
are
at,
messing
look
up the waters of my tribe. So, I'm not defending it. I'm not defending
at.
it. No, it's you liberals
Okay, I
that
just,
are talking about the
it was
green.
open. I had to take it.
You
I had
see,
to
it's
take it,
you
Mister.
liberals are talking about green, 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 green. Then you see, then go electronics. I mean, I'm
But you
against. They are
I'm
polluting
sorry.
the
I care
all the
more about
rivers
my
of my
African
tribe.
heritage.
They are polluting all.
I'm
I
tired.
know.
I'm tired of seeing my African soil being raped and pillaged, so some people can send a stupid text and tweet. I'm sorry. I don't want to do it no more. I'm tired of it. Go back to Mother Earth. Stay away from my
you
young
know,
land.
Beast, you
I'm
got it.
against.
You got it for
I am
tonight.
against what the
You
oil
got it.
companies. I'm against what all the oil
If
companies are doing in my land, in our tribe. I'm against it because
if
they are messing up the ecology of the place.
That hit right
That
here.
one is non-negotiable.
if
I'm
if
There
only
is.
pumping
Congo
green.
would
I'm
close
only naming
down,
green, green. I'm only talking
That's
about this
it.
green, green because you liberals are the one talking about green energy. That's what I'm saying. That's why I put it for you.
no, we was talking about the crook slowing down the mail. That's what we was talking about.
You messing with people's lives and whatnot. Like, look, I'm
Look,
cool with the fact that I don't get my bill,
you
but
will
it's some
get
other
your,
stuff I'm looking for in the mail that I need. So,
you will get your
and
bill.
just because
You will
I
get,
ain't get that bill don't mean they ain't gonna cut it off. I can't use it. We sent you a bill in the mail, bro. Trump defunded the post office. I ain't had mail in 3 weeks. Well, that's not our problem. Clear.
this my electric
Yeah,
bill. My electric
some
bill.
people, some people haven't
Exactly.
received any mail in 2 or 3 weeks. And with the pandemic, the mail has slowed down because of the number of workers and so forth and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now, the mail is 2 to 3 weeks behind. So with him defunding it, it's going to put it even further behind because his objective is to block the vote.
Look,
And he thinks by doing that,
All right.
that is what I
Okay.
want to tell you, that they all, both the Democrats and Republicans, are playing the game. Even this coronavirus was
It's
introduced
not
to stop
you
me
can
from
say
winning.
they're
But no,
playing the
but see, no,
game.
okay.
You
Let
can
me speak
say
on
they're
this.
playing the game, but it's his move. Right
It's not.
This
now,
is what's going
it's
on.
his move.
Coronavirus was
And that's
brought
the
by
move
them.
that he made. That's
No,
the move
Mr.
that
O,
he
coronavirus was
made.
brought. Look, when they could not
Mr.
stop me
O,
because of the economy boom, they brought in
It's not.
coronavirus.
It's
look
not the
here. I'm
Democrat.
telling you what the man is doing. I'm going back to your face. He's not a politician. So he's not playing the Democratic game. He's not playing the Republican game. He's playing the Koch brothers game. Understand? He's playing the game for the brothers that's setting up the parties. That's the game he's playing. He's playing the game like he's the Koch brothers, both of them.
You know what? I even take it a step further. I'm doing what the Republicans was trying to do. Move it out the way. It's like hold my beer. That's what's going
Yeah.
on.
I mean,
That's
yeah. But the way he moving, like the Koch brothers, like I'm moving like I know everything that's going on. I got
But
more
don't.
control behind the scenes. Like he's being flagrant, almost like Cheney, which is kind of funny. Like he's letting you know his hand. Like, yeah, I know some stuff. Like they ain't gonna get rid of me. Like I'm here.
But
But
he's
But you
moving
don't
out
really
of
know what all
fear.
he know. But
He's
he is
moving out of
moving out of fear
fear.
and ignorance.
It's not a fear. The man has fallen down many times in business. He knows how to
The
stand up
man is
again.
moving
No, no,
out of
no. That is what
fear
you
because
think.
he stole
He
the
will
last
win.
election.
He will win
We did
landslide.
not vote for
No.
him,
He will
and
win
he's
landslide. Take
afraid
it or not.
that we're
Oh, he will
definitely
win
not going to
landslide.
vote for him a
He's
second
not
term.
afraid. He's not afraid. He's not
He-
afraid at
I'm
all.
down for
He
one of them
will win
arms pop
landslide.
out.
Wait, look, November comes. Let's see. He will win landslide.
don't
You don't
worry.
know what is
got
going
a
on.
show. We got
You don't
It
know what
will
is
be
going
no
on.
landslide. It will be
You
no
got-
landslide.
No, wait. I say
No.
wait and see. Wait
Well,
and
we
see.
we we go
There will
we
be
go
Ain't no
we
line.
we
Republicans
are
and Democrats.
actually. I'm actually setting up a show for
I want to
election
know,
night
will you
tomorrow.
mail in your vote?
No,
Will you
Exactly.
mail
How
in
you-
your vote?
No, I will not. No, I do not vote, but I'm interested.
Oh, I
I'm
had to
very
get
much
one up.
interested.
I had to
I'm
get
very
one
much
up.
interested. Look, America must
since
not.
Mr. O
America
technically
must not
can't
die.
vote, he got to put
I
something on
am
the
very
table.
much interested. America must not die. America
True.
must not die.
America
I'm very
will not
interested.
die. America was alive well before he took office, and America will continue to live
No,
after
they
he
want to
leaves
burn
the
it down.
office.
No,
All right.
No,
Okay,
no.
I got.
Hold
Hey,
on.
look,
Since he done put the cards on the table, since the cards is on the table, and the bet is now he gonna win the last slide. All three of us can do something. Technically, you're not an American, so you can't vote. So you gotta put something on the table, Mr. O. You know, you got to throw them keys, you got to throw them car keys, them house keys, something, man. How that
saying,
Rolex
right?
looking on there? You got a nice bottle of wine back there that's worth some
I'm
money.
saying,
Like, talk to me. Like,
go
I
in the
mean,
cellar.
I'll take your bet. Look, I'll take the bluff now. Hold on. Yeah, I'll take the bet. But you're gonna have to sweeten the pot, Pimpin'.
You see, there's a group behind us. They are the one that put leaders in America. It's not your votes. Yeah, look,
Of course not.
I said there are interest groups, the establishment, the deep state. Look, there will be a time they are watching. When they see their state, they will meet behind closed door.
But understand this about the corruption. If everyone in America unilaterally said we will not vote, if everyone in America said this will be the election that we as Americans make the choice not to vote.
Look,
and someone is still elected in by hook or by crook, then
many people did not vote. That's why John Kennedy won.
No. I didn't say many people. I say unilaterally. Every American does not vote. It's plausible. It's plausible and it's possible.
Because you do not all think
the
same.
The reason why it's not is because
they're going to mail it like in, and they're going to be in the back of a truck somewhere.
No, because you
not
do not all think the same. You do not all think the same. There's
it's not about thinking the same.
It's not about thinking the same.
That's why
it's about proving the point.
Me and my household, we went to the polls and cast our ballot. We refused to put our ballot in the mail so that it get lost before election day.
We as Americans will prove a point. If we all got together and said, because everyone feels this way, so we all just stand up and say, you know what? Let's prove the point at how corrupt this system truly is. Nobody vote, and I guarantee you somebody will still make it in. Just to show you how corrupt this thing is. We could all not vote. Unilaterally, no American, 0%. And somebody will still win, and it will still be an exaggerated number. Like 85% of the country voted for him, but we know 0%.
You are not repeating. You are not repeating what I said.
We'll do it just to prove a point. That's the point I'm making. Americans are stubborn and we're petty, and if you piss us off enough, we will go that far just to prove the point.
You are saying what I have just said, that not necessarily both can't. There are powerful people behind, just like they want to chip up with chips, with vaccine. They are the one controlling the whole system, and they will weigh on before the election day.
Right.
I mean,
so
it's a corrupt system.
Yeah. All right. So with that, all right. So with that, let's go ahead, because I should have ended the show about 10 minutes ago. Should go to the final thought. So We're gonna go ahead and jump into the final thought. I would say, do we have an Alibaba? But I think everybody let a lot off their chest. I'll just sit back, just listen. And by the way, before we go into our final thought, I want to let y'all know that this St. Diamond, they already have mail-in voting. So just want to put that out there. So, Mr. O.
Well, at last, the program became heated because in the beginning, it was more of a romance. And on the long run, we all coincide. It is just that our perspectives are different. And I hope we continue with this program and I hope it grows. We have to think for ourselves and take our own decision about ourselves to be able to guide us to our own destiny, which we merit. That's my closing statement.
Wow, we're at the end of another show. Very interesting. My final thought is corruption pervades our politics, be it Republican, be it Democrat. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And what number 45 proposes to do is clear corruption. It is clear unmitigated gall to stall out everyone's life and livelihood just because he fears that he may not win the vote because people are choosing safety by voting by mail, by versus bringing themselves to harm by going out to the polls. So it's just an alternative that can just be used this season. If the next time we have no health crisis, people can return to the polls. But to defund the United States Postal Service just because he fears he will lose the vote by mail-in vote is unjust. Vote him out. My final thought.
My final thought, let's not forget, they still out here protesting peacefully. Just because the media is not covering doesn't mean that it's not happening. It's going to continue to happen. Yesterday, I went, I was talking to one of my co-workers from a different unit, and we started talking about football. And I asked him, I was like, hey, because he's a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. And, they already got Tom Brady. So you would think a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, when you ask about their team, they pumped up. They ready for the season. I asked him, I said, you ready for the season? He said, I'm not going to be watching. And I was like, okay. Well, you have a good day. He said, you too. And I've been seeing that a lot. And that's not only pertaining to sports, I mean pertaining to Facebook. Ever since that protest, Black Lives Matter, restarted, it had started a division in this country. But tell you the truth, I don't even think it's a division. Think about it. I'll just say, I'm going to take a saying that Teach told me. It's America looking themselves in the mirror and finally accepting who they are, what it is. It's not the happy-go-lucky, melting pot that we portray ourselves to be, or the freest nation as we say that we are. Where a man can just get killed, black man can get killed in broad daylight and that person that kills them, police officers, just get away with it or just get paid leave. Where you got your friends, and I know I'm gonna stir the, kick the hornet's nest, but so be it. Where you got friends that don't look like you, really let their true colors show on Facebook. That same friend you probably grew up with since y'all was 2, and y'all would probably even took baths together, and your parents are best friends, and they put up a post of all lives matter or blue lives matter, and not understand it from the point of I'm a black man or a black woman that have to walk on eggshells, and hopefully when I drive on this highway that I don't get pulled over, get stopped, or get killed. You don't understand, when I get up and leave my home, I already got a target on my back. But then they come back to you like, man, you're my dog and everything, but man, but this needs to stop. See, our friendship just shows that racism is now, racism is dead. Racism is now over. Let me break something to y'all. That does not mean racism is over. You're using the friendship as comfort of you saying that, no, I'm not a racist. You're just my black friend. We grew up with each other. Well, I'm here to tell y'all, if y'all got friends like that, yes, as they say, they got every right to put their opinions on Facebook. I get it, even though I think it's their statement, because there are lots of other people that's not going to agree with them, and then they get mad when they get the backlash. You might want to question their friendship. You might want to question their loyalty. Because I'm getting to that point in my life. I got many friends of different ethnicities. But now it's come to time, ladies and gentlemen. And it doesn't only just pertain to people of different colors. It also pertains to people that look like you too. Because I got people on my Facebook right now that look like me, that agrees with the police. That agrees that if George Floyd and all the rest of them didn't resist and just follow what the police told them, just apply, what's it? If I can, God dang it. But if they listen to a police officer, they still will be here today. You might want to question your loyalty to them. Tell them to keep that same energy when they look you eye in the face. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. It is time where we should question our friendship, our loyalty to people who you think are your best friends, but then when you're not around, you start to see their actual and true colors. Just a little, vent thing from me. But other than that, Beach Johnson, close us out.
My final thought is kind of going to tie in a little bit to what we spoke on earlier. To put a human tragedy over a human injustice is the act and the mark of a lazy, slothful, cowardice person. An individual that knows that the greater task at hand should be the priority, but for whatever personal inequities and insecurities, they refuse to join that conversation and join that front. So instead, they bring up other things to try to deviate and slowly turn the tide against that, because they don't want to actually deal with the situation and have that conversation. You individuals are cowards. You will be better off just shutting your mouth, being quiet, and staying in the back. Far, far in the back. Up against the wall, like wallflowers. like the awkward kids at a seventh grade school dance. That's where you need to be. We must always remember that human tragedies happen, and we must not forget that. But to overindulge in the exposure is to only desensitize yourself when true injustice comes around. What we have now is true injustice. What we are speaking on and striving to avoid and solve and absolve is injustice. This is something that goes beyond all races. For you divisive people out here, you better get in line, because as I stated earlier in my story of the hangman, this injustice knows no color, no creed. So if you don't get in line, you're going to end up being the narrator, alone, the last soul in the town with the hangman, with no one there to defend you, because you allowed everyone else to die. That's my final thought. Please be safe and have a good night.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that also concludes another great week of hashtag Fade to Black. Thank y'all so very, very much. Also, one more again, shout out to realcheddarboypopcorn.com.
Yes.
Good popcorn, good flavor. I still got 2 of the bags up in there that I need to get to, and that's cheddar and some more of the birthday cake. Once again, realcheddarboypopcorn.com. He actually was in just for a little bit. Hopefully we can have more next week. But Monday, ladies and gentlemen, it will be Mr. O taking over, as he's going to be teaching us more of African culture. Cannot wait for the show. Then Wednesday, Wednesday is music and the music entertainment. That's going to be Mr. Beast Johnson. He's going to be, showing his accolades and his knowledge when it comes to music. And then on Friday, classes in session, y'all. Teach takeover. She going to be doing her class. And you know she going to be getting down with some African culture. So y'all better sit back and relax. You better bring your energy drinks. Bring your notepad, your pen, because y'all gonna learn a little something. But other than that, thank y'all for all tuning in. Oh my goodness, I love ending it on the show. I just love ending the show on that note. What we just did, before the final thought, But these are discussions that has to be had, and trust me, there are a lot more where that came from. But for myself, Donna Alamonte, Morris, Beach Johnson, Professor O, Anita Joe, aka Teach. Thank y'all for tuning in. And I had to ask this question. I always do. Are y'all gonna be able to tune in on Monday?
Of course.
Cross our fingers on Teach. Dang it. But
I got my schedule, and I won't be back home in time. But I will be able to go and pull it up.
Hey, that's fine with us. But other than that, everybody stay safe. Also, thank y'all for tuning in. Once again, check out realcheddarboypopcorn.com. I'd like to thank the panel for coming on. Thank y'all so very, very much. Keep watching the show. Tell your mama, tell your dad, tell your side piece. Tell, other than kids, tell everybody about the show to tune in and watch. But it's time for us to go. Enjoy y'all weekend. It's been real. Catch y'all later. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.